Broadcasting from Studio 202 at the Springett Technology Center in Navasota, Texas. It's NOV Live. Now, let's start the show.
Hello and welcome to NOV Live. My name is Shelby Dumaine and I'm your host this morning. This is the show where we talk about technology from within NOV and bring that insight on that technology out to you. Like I said, this is NOV Live, which means we are live right now. We are broadcasting out of Studio 202 in Navasota, Texas. We have a really excellent show. We're talking drilling, beliefs, and analytics today. But before I get into our guests and introduce you to them, I want to quickly go over to Ben Lasher, working our social desk this morning. Good morning, Ben.
Yeah, good morning. So as always, we always like to know where people are in the world. I see some people are already putting their locations in the chat, so make sure to tell us where you're tuning in from. We're going to have a Q&A at the end of the show, so make sure you comment and put all your questions in there if you have any questions about what we're talking about, and we'll try our best to get to all of those. If we don't, we have an email address, socialmedia@nov.com. You can send your questions to that, and we will try to respond to you. So back to you.
Excellent. Thank you, Ben. I look forward to seeing everybody in the comment section. All right. Well, like I said, our topic today is drilling beliefs and analytics. And to get right into it, I want to introduce the guests that we have today. First, we have Jeffery. He is the product line director. And Michael Roberts, you are the drilling optimization supervisor. To kick us off, can you first tell us a little bit about yourselves, what you do at NOV?
Yeah, I'm CJ. I'm the product director for MD Togco. I look after digital products, so everything from software that runs at the rig to help guys drill the wells through to the remote monitoring software in the office. I'm really excited to be here. This is my first one in the studio.
Yes, I know we've had you online before, back when we used to do all the webcam version, so it's nice to have you in person as well. Yeah, excellent. And Michael?
I'm Michael Roberts, so a drilling optimization supervisor. So I'm involved in basically all of our drilling optimization platforms, the surface optimization platforms, as well as our Tier 2 and Tier 4 drilling optimization services.
Excellent. Thank you for being here. And I'm going to embarrass you a little bit. I like you look really snazzy today. You scared me a little bit, said you might show up in jean cutoff. So I appreciate
Well,
that.
they're in the backpack. So, you know, if we need to pause and change, we can do that.
That's all right. Well, thank you for being here this morning.
Thanks for having me.
So to kind of get us into the conversation, drilling belief and analytics, it's such a cool, big phrase. Can you tell us, what is it? What is it used for?
Yeah, it's one of those products that I like to talk about it as a drilling engineer's toolbox. It's not one of those things where we can sort of say it does this one really tiny specific thing. You know, it's a weird thing where we go, it's more is less. It actually produces a ton of value add data that during the drilling process, the drilling engineer and the crew at the rig site can use to make better decisions. One of the things we like to talk about with our customers is how it reduces cognitive load for the actual people doing the work. We take a lot of different channels into the system, and it synthesizes value add channels from those. So instead of saying monitoring 5 or 6 different things to determine what's going on in the well, you can monitor the single channel. So it's a really interesting product technically that's been built up over a long period of time. It came about through a partnership. So we've been working with Apache and a major operator who's been working in this area for a long time with another company, Intellisys, who developed the core engine. We've partnered with both those companies to develop this product. So Apache's helped us along the way, understanding the needs of the user, how a drilling engineer, how a company man would use the product. And that's been really helpful. For a period of time, we had one of their engineers sitting in our office for about 4 months, helping us out with the design process and really understanding how they would use the product. And that was hugely beneficial in the development process because it gives us that different insight. For us, we're not drilling wells day to day and having that input from a real customer, which then has really helped us, and Mike's going to talk about it later on with the testing of the product. Having that customer embedded and engaged just really helps. It gives you someone to go out and test with. It gives you a fast feedback cycle.
Absolutely.
So that's what it is. It adds, everything from calculations on directional drilling efficiency through, HSE well control information, all using, this core engine that's provided by IntelliSys.
Absolutely. And that's something last week we talked about max completions and that platform. And I think similar to this in that it's getting that data together, but really starting from what the customer needs and what helps them. I think I kind of heard you mention
Yeah.
that. I think that's what's makes these unique.
This has been developed within our Max Drilling project.
Oh, okay.
So we've had a project for the last 2 years where it's Max Drilling, very similar to Max Completions you guys talked about, where we're looking at how we can re-envision and change the way that we communicate, visualize, and provide data to our customers. And that's everything from new web applications for visualization. Drilling Beliefs and Analytics was part of that program, where we've pulled together a lot of different pieces, and we're looking at delivering symmetric user interfaces to the guys at the rig, so they have the exact same information that the guys in the office have.
Yes.
So that's a really important thing for us. Like, if you call the rig, I want to be looking at the same thing you're looking at, and the exact same thing. So I say, well, in the top left-hand corner, no, hey, go to this screen. Well, your screen looks different. So this has been a really big project for us. And I'm sure we'll be back again in a couple of months to talk about some other parts of it as we release the different products from the Max Drilling project.
And I didn't even know, I got to be transparent to the audience, I didn't even know that they connected. So that's exciting. I just plugged it a little bit, didn't even know it. So can you tell us, why is this needed? Why is it so important in the industry?
So we looked at it and, understanding that the industry's changed. We're all needing to do more with less. As we've upcycled and rig counts, more than doubled. Everyone is short on people. And really, we've seen that as a challenge, capturing knowledge and transferring knowledge, that innate things that an SME knows, and taking those and codifying them. And that's one of the great things about the core engine behind Drilling Beliefs and Analytics is it codifies SME knowledge in terms of the relationships of the different parameters that feed into, say, understanding a well control, an abnormal influx to your well. That can be codified, and then the engine calculates that every second. So we can calculate, hundreds of channels based on SME knowledge input every second. An SME can't interpret all of that data at the same time on a second-by-second basis across, multiple rigs. So it's a real need in the industry for us to take the undocumented, knowledge of SMEs and turn it into products that everyone can use.
Absolutely. And so that's a great overview for the what of it. And Michael, I wanted to ask you a little bit on the how. So can you talk a little bit about how this adds value to customers and maybe how it's achieving those goals currently?
Okay, so DBA provides value in two main ways. It's all about efficiency in all aspects of the well construction process. So the two main ways that DBA provides value is through early identification of NPT events and then physics-based models to enhance drilling performance. Those are the two main ways.
And how is that used by professionals, I should say?
It's used by, not only seasoned professionals, but it also helps bridge the gap, the experience gap that we currently have in the industry due to not only the great crew change, but also most recently the COVID downturn. So we have a lot of new professionals in the industry, and I have a lot of professionals in the industry that are new to their current roles. So let's take a driller as an example. He may have only been drilling 6 months, 12 months, or maybe even longer. There's going to be a lot of scenarios that he hasn't seen firsthand yet. So let's take a pack off for an example. There's going to be some early warning signs that are alluding to a pack off event may occur. So those may get past someone who hasn't been in that scenario firsthand, someone who's busy, or a remote center that's monitoring multiple rigs at once. So what DBA does is, like CJ said, it consumes that data and then provides the end user with one simple channel, in this case, a pack-off event channel. And with that comes a confidence index. So a simple 0 to 1 scale, 0 being not likely, 1 being extremely likely. So this allows for early identification of potential issues, so mitigation steps can take place before the problem becomes an actual NPT event.
Oh, so it's almost like having like an old timer on the site who's been seeing, hundreds, thousands of wells, except for extremely accurate and being able to
Yeah,
really
extremely
get that
accurate and
information.
with doesn't take any breaks.
Right.
Yeah. And
no
beyond,
need for a coffee break.
no need for a coffee break. And beyond that, going into the the physics-based models part of it, we have real-time ECD at the bit, ECD at the shoe, torque on bit, weight on bit, and a real-time torque and drag model that updates automatically without any manual input with every survey that's accepted, every change in mud weight, and obviously every casing or liner run.
Excellent. And I know when we were prepping the show, I saw and I was excited that y'all are willing to talk a little bit about platform specific. So, TJ, could you take that and tell me, why does that matter? What are the different platform specifics?
Yeah. So, and it sort of comes back to the point you made. You talked about max completions and max drilling. We have at NOV been building max for a long time. Max is built up of different pieces, but that builds our platform. So
Right.
a user accessing max completions goes to max.nov.com. Accessing DBA in the cloud to see their information, they can go to max.nov.com. So we're bringing together a lot of our applications and delivering them through a single interface, a single portal. So it makes it a lot easier for our consumers. They've got one place to go, all their data across asset management, maintenance information. So we have a whole suite of products within that really will help them. For us, developing, it gives us synergies. So we can share development effort between the different programs. So, pieces like a gauge we build for our, to visualize a DBA channel can be used by the max completions guys. So it's really helping us from a software development side be more effective with our resources. And, obviously everything's about efficiency today. So the more efficient and effective we can be, it just helps us.
Right, absolutely.
DBA itself, we're very edge centric. Coming from MD Togco's background, RigSense, which is our core product we run at the rig. These products have to run offline. We took that same philosophy with DBA. We want it to run at the rig. A lot of people are running things in the cloud today.
Yeah.
We have rigs in places without the internet or with very bad internet. It's, a problem. There's a pocket where you might just be exactly between two cell towers. Yeah, we all know it. We're out at the test rig, and I probably lost connection on my phone a couple of times driving out here to Navasota.
Right.
You put your rig just at that point where the oil and gas is that doesn't have cell coverage. We can't have products that stop working because we lose LTE.
Right.
So we're very edge centric, and we use Max Edge, which is our edge IoT platform. To host and run DBA at the rig site. So we run the core engine on there. We run the visualization on that same software platform, and on a physical device we deploy to the rig. So that really, we take advantage of that. That it's a great piece of technology. This is the second product that we've, from my suite, we've built on top of it. It's actually the last time I was on here talking about Kaizen.
That's right. Yeah,
So Kaizen uses Max Edge as well to make it work. So we're finding a lot of places where we can get some reusability, and it's making us be able to deliver products faster.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't even realize that, because I guess when I think data, I do associate it with having to be online, and so I've always wondered how that works at a rig site. So that's really interesting.
Yeah, so
That's
we
cool.
manage. We have our own Wi-Fi. We have our own. We actually host a local web server. So it's actually the same as the web server that you would go to in the cloud. We just have a local one running on the rig site for that rig.
Wow, man, can you make me one for the live show so I can go places without it?
So, and all of this sort of comes back to, what are we actually deploying and why
Right.
it's important. And I think we've touched on it a couple of times. I just wanted to give sort of the real simple example. The core engine, it's using Bayesian belief network. So it's a probabilistic model. And the easiest, simple way to sort of explain it and talk through is an example. You want to know, is the grass wet? Because I want to know if I want to put my welly boots on in the morning.
Right.
So if we think about a really simple network model for predicting, is the grass wet? So a couple of inputs, did it rain? That's a really logical one. If it rained, the grass is going to be wet. So we can measure if it rained, we can measure, things like, well, did the sprinklers come on? Okay, there's a couple of inputs that we can build to
Right.
start, a network, and we can go, well, what's something that would help us determine if the sprinklers came on or if it rained? Well, is it cloudy or is it sunny?
Right.
So if you think about it, we can start building these, networks. And obviously when we get into drilling, these networks become more complex. And we talk about weight on bit trends and pump pressure and, tank volumes and all these things. But, you can build these very relatable and understandable networks that we go, okay, well, if it is cloudy and the grass is wet, we can come through the chain of these different networks and go, okay, well, it was probably, if it was cloudy, there's a good probability it rained, and it's likely we turned off the sprinklers. So we can go
Right.
through and we can go, okay, well, we think because it's cloudy, there's a 25% chance that the grass is wet. And that's the one real thing about this product that I think makes it, really understandable in an industry that's challenged by change.
Yep.
Black boxes of, well, we ran like a neural network, or we ran this really fancy machine learning model, and we're telling you this. And everyone goes, well, how does it work? We're like, we fed some data in this side, and this number came out the other side, and we trained it on some stuff. These ones, if you go, well, why do we think this is happening? Go, well, here's the inputs. We think an abnormal flow event's happening because we've been tracking the trend in pit volumes. We've been tracking the pump pressure. Like, these are all things you would look at on a chart.
Right.
And the traditional way we've done this is just looking at strip charts. And the number of times that I've stood around in my career looking at a screen of squiggly lines, I was all going, well, I think that one was going up, and then this one went down.
You sound like
and
me
then-
looking at a
like
chart.
it,
I feel
you
better.
do this, and Mike laughs because we've all done it hundreds of times in our careers. But we can codify that, take
Right.
that, interpretation we're doing in our brains, and we turn that into models and working, and shout out to IntelliSys. They're the really smart guys in the room who do all this core logic, network building, make the amazing outputs we use. We provide, the ability to scale it, support it. MD Togco has technicians in so many locations. We're on 50%-ish of the rigs globally, in most parts of the world. We have something there already. And we have a guy within a couple of hours who can go out and troubleshoot and fix stuff. And that's the real thing we see is pulling together these partners and the different skill sets. We take the knowledge and the skills and the probabilities and that part from our partner. We combine that with our skills and our deployment expertise and our reach to get these things out to lots of different places in the world and lots of different customers. And those just combine really well, and it lets us leverage everyone's unique skills to deliver products to end users that in the end help them drill better wells.
Right. It's that teamwork.
That's the big goal for us is help you deliver a better well as a operator, do it faster and do it safer. And I think that's something we always forget is the safety aspect of it, and especially with knowledge disappearing from our industry. The more we can do to help
critical.
people, help with interpretation of data, it's really going to help the industry deliver faster, safer wells.
Yeah, no doubt. The word that kind of comes to mind when I think of that, and this might be obvious for people in the industry, but is really sophistication maybe. Because I feel like there's outside of the oil and gas or energy industry, people think it's this old school kind of space, but every week the technology, but especially kind of the thought behind it and the network and everything. That's so fascinating. I think people don't realize just how sophisticated these technologies are. So that's really excellent. And like you said, how sophisticated that teamwork is as well, how that goes hand in hand.
Yeah, change management comes into a lot as well. We've done some things to try and reduce the magnitude of change for our end users.
Right.
We've embedded drilling beliefs and analytics at the rig site into RigSense itself. So it's not a new user interface for them. There's a couple of new tabs, a couple of new screens for them, but 80 or 90% of the workflow hasn't changed.
Right.
And we think that's really important that we progressively change these things for the industry. You don't want to go from one user interface to a completely new one overnight.
Correct.
We all know, like any of our apps we use, suddenly they're like, we've released this major change, and everyone goes, oh no.
It's like if the iPhone updates and suddenly I'm like, wait, it's a totally different phone.
So we are taking a very gradual approach to change management from a software perspective. So we're doing this in a slow, roll out pieces at a time, change the workflow one element at a time, especially for the rig crews.
Right.
Office users are a little more open to change, but rig crews are change adverse. So I think we found a sweet spot where we, leverage the hardware we already have at the rig. So we don't have to, we only add one additional device, the Max Edge device, to the rig. But we can utilize all of the other hardware we already have on the rig. So you're not, throwing another HMI in front of a driller so they've got 17 of these things. We keep it to 16. They have too many screens already. So the more we can do to leverage the existing screen real estate we have on the rig, the better off it is for the end user.
Definitely. So Michael, I wanted to ask you about the go-to-market plan. What is that looking at, and are there any examples of success that you could talk about?
Yeah, so we're already in the market. We have deployments with Apache here in the continental United States as well as internationally. And we're currently in project planning for deployments with other operators in Q4 of this year. And as CJ said, we're also going to be adding some more features to the DBA platform itself. And to your second question, as far as successes go, the system is robust and accurate. We have case studies and examples of, really all the important things that you would want to look at. So early detection of influx, early detection of losses, bit balling, washouts, pack-offs. Those have all been, proven multiple times. And we've also used MD Totco's EMS and DBS systems to prove out the accuracy of the downhole weight on bit and downhole torque in not only vertical but deviated and horizontal sections of the well, and also use that same tool to prove out the shock and vibration beliefs and the accuracy of the ECD readings. So overall, we've ran it through the ringer and had very positive results.
Excellent. That's what we like to see, for sure. And before we go over back to Ben with audience questions, I did want to put you on the spot a little bit. Is there an email that folks can reach out to if they wanted to get in contact with you guys or kind of continue that conversation? Maybe could they email you?
You can email me. I'd advise, this is something, most likely if you're interested in this, you already have an MD Togco account rep.
True.
Best point of contact, your MD Togco account rep. They're going to reach out to me or the team. We'll walk you through it. With some of these products, obviously we're staging it out. Our primary focus is the North America market. US and Canada today. We'll expand it out into the other markets internationally over, the later part of this year and into next year.
Right.
But if people reach out to their MD Togco account rep, if they don't have one, I think looking at Lindsay, it's mdtogco@nov.com.
That's right. I see you're nodding your head. So that's all right. Thanks. All right. Well, over to Ben. I want to make sure we get to the audience questions.
Yeah, we do have a couple questions. So the first one was a comment around drilling optimization and digital technologies in general and kind of the trend that we're seeing there. And the question was, how much time goes into drilling tools or components, subsequent alternatives to add value in comparison to data analytics and digital technologies? I would read that again if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, ooh, that was a doozy.
So how much time goes into drilling tools or components, subsequent alternatives to add value in comparison to data analytics and digital technology? So I think how much time goes into focusing on the tools as opposed to the digital part of it?
So I think, it's a balance. And this is one of the reasons, sort of throw to the idea of the partners. For us, our core business as MD Togco is data.
Right.
We're a data company, and we've been a data company, and specifically a drilling operations data company for a very long time. That's our core strength. We use partners for the developing tools, and there's a reason we do that. Is they're experts.
Right.
And I know my colleague Ramon Rodriguez was on NOV Live talking about Drill Sage.
Yep.
Previously. That's another partner we've worked with or continue to work with to bring their tool, their knowledge, their SME level, development to our customers. We see that as a really important thing. We can't be experts in everything.
Right.
We want to create the best data. We want to ensure your data gets to you. We want to ensure it's usable by our partners. The partners then can layer that value on, and it gives people the option. You can use different partners' products to solve different problems. On the data analytics side, we do some data analytics ourselves. We have projects in the data analytics space. But from an industry standpoint, most of the conversations I have today around data analytics is how do we get people data efficiently? And we're working with multiple operators on, how do we get them streaming data, live streaming data in an efficient modern protocol so that they can run their calculations and feed back analytics to us? How can we get data into their data lakes so they can run their big experiments they want to run? So I see there's a lot of focus in the industry how we use data better. We tend to position ourselves as a conduit. We want to make it available. We want to get the right data and the value add back in front of the person who can take action.
Right. Yeah, y'all bring the expertise and the data to the equation.
Yeah.
So that's excellent.
That's a good answer. So I think we have time for one more. So how is DBA trained?
That's a really good question, and it's one of those things that is really important to understand the history behind these things. They're not something that just happens overnight. So DBA has been trained to develop those networks and implement weighting factors, etc., on over 1,500 wells since 2015. So it's not a brand new product. It's a tried and tested thing.
Yeah.
And that's really gives it a lot of history that's helped refine these models.
Definitely get that proof in the pudding. I
Yeah.
like it. Excellent. Well, thank you, gentlemen, both for coming on today. It's been a really excellent show, and I know I learned a lot. The audience can't tell. I was like, "What? No way!" the whole time. So, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
And thank you so much for joining us live, the audience from wherever in the world you are watching. I want to give a special thanks to Ben Lasher today, as well as Lindsay Wright, and our production team, Paul Dufio and Wei Han Lin. My name has been Shelby Dumaine, and I will see you next week.